American English, American English. Teach and learn American English.
In this teaching tip topic, Maggie will examine what learner training is and some specific cognitive strategies and resources for facilitating learner training in the English language classroom. Welcome, Maggie.
Hi everyone, my name is Maggie and I'm happy to share my teaching tips for your classroom. Here are today's goals. Today we'll examine what learner training is and how you can use it with your students. I will also share with you some specific cognitive strategies and resources for facilitating this technique in your classroom. Let's talk about learner training. Learner training involves teaching your learners strategies to help them learn more effectively. As we know, teachers take on many roles. For language teachers, the most important part of our job is to provide our students with opportunities for interaction using the target language. We want to make language real so that our students can use it successfully, both inside and outside of the classroom. Ultimately, as language teachers, we strive to create independent language users. Let's take a closer look at learner training. Here are 4 components of learner training. Learning about yourself, or to be aware of your personal learning style and preferences. In other words, know how you learn best. Learning by yourself, to develop cognitive strategies to aid your learning. This means being an independent, autonomous learner. Learning from each other, to use classmates and teachers as resources. And finally, learning from yourself, to self-assess and reflect, paying attention to the learning process. There are many cognitive strategies and resources available for facilitating learner training in the English language classroom. Here is a list of some of the specific examples of learner training I will feature in my teaching tips today. The first is a KWL chart, which is a self-assessment tool to measure what a student knows, what they want to know, and finally, what they have learned. The first 2 columns are to be completed before a learning unit, and the final column is to be completed once the unit has ended. This is an excellent tool that allows students to track their progress. My next learner training example is something that you're probably already familiar with, flashcards. On a flashcard, a vocabulary word is listed, either with a picture of that word or a translation. This is a great cognitive strategy for helping students remember vocabulary. There are many pre-made flashcards out there, but a more meaningful classroom activity could be asking students to make their own flashcards using the new vocabulary from class. Now let's look at mnemonic devices. A mnemonic device is a rhyme, acronym, or association used to help you remember something. Maybe you've heard this one before, I before E except after C, to help students remember tricky English spelling. When I was a student studying Spanish, my teachers taught me this technique for remembering Spanish-speaking Central American countries. My goodness, eating hot nachos causes pain. The first letter of each word is the first letter as the countries moving from north to south. Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. The next example is a resource. There are a lot of great resources available online for language learners. One that I find to be very useful to my students is called Word Reference. Word Reference is an online dictionary. When your students look up a word, they will see the translation, the part of speech, and a sample sentence. If they are uncertain of the correct usage of the word, this site has a forum feature where they can ask other users questions. Finally, I want to talk about cooperative learning. Cooperative learning is a teaching strategy in which pairs or teams of students work together to understand a subject. Through cooperative learning, students can use each other as a resource. They are given opportunities in class for discussion and interaction. A successful cooperative learning strategy I like is called Think, Pair, Share, where students are first given time to think to themselves about a question, then talk to a partner, and finally share their ideas in front of the entire class. Cooperative learning involves providing your students with opportunities to interact through pair and group work. In addition to Think, Pair, Share, Task-based and project-based learning are conducive for encouraging interaction among students. Summing up, today I showed you what learner training is and gave you some specific cognitive strategies and resources for facilitating learner training in your classroom. That's all for these teaching tips. I hope I've given you some ideas for how to help your students learn better. Thanks for joining me.
To check out other great teaching tip videos, be sure to subscribe to our American English YouTube channel. You can find resources for teachers on the American English website, and if you haven't already, be sure to like us on the American English for Educators Facebook page.